mom wanted something different for me. My mom, she got pregnant with me during her freshman year of college, so she had to drop out. Unfortunately, there weren't resources that helped her stay the course as far as finishing school. And my mom, you know, loved her. She did great things. She was a politician. She did a bunch of financial work, different things she's done. And she's since gone back and got her degree. But she really pushed me to want more than she had. And she wanted me to be able to, I don't know, just take care of myself outside of just going out into the workforce without the degree. She wanted me to have options. That was the biggest thing, was options. Going back to high school, there were two people in particular. One was my guidance counselor, Miss Mitchell, and the other was another guidance counselor that I worked with in a program that I was involved with called Mr. Fair, or his name was Mr. Fairs. They just pushed me. They said they saw something in me, and they pushed me to want to do better. And so, I don't know, it was that push that I got from them, though I didn't like it at the time, and I fought it, you know, tooth and nail, but that was who would have inspired me, those two. Like I mentioned, the folks I had in high school, I had a great team of people around me in high school, including those two counselors and a couple teachers that really pushed me and really supported me. And the one counselor, Miss Mitchell, she had a relationship with a recruiter from Berea College, Carl Thomas, and she decided to introduce him to me. I guess he was on one of his recruiting trips, and that's where it started. She had me apply, they had me apply, and helped me through the process. I didn't know first thing, you know, what to do as far as applying to college or what have you. So they walked me through the process, and he got me to come visit my senior year. I came up to Kentucky. It was my first time ever having a thought of Kentucky, to be honest, never mind visiting, and came and liked what I saw. I had sort of interesting experiences before I got to college. I lived in 3 different states for my high school experience. I lived in Connecticut, where I went to multicultural school, a magnet school that was really about building diversity and inclusion. So I didn't really know a lot about race and race issues as far as dealing with them personally. I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, where I experienced a lot of racism, including getting arrested for fighting a Caucasian student in school, which I should have been suspended, but I was arrested, and a whole bunch of issues that I dealt with down there. Police brutality towards one of my friends, and these things all happened at the hands of white people. Then from there I moved to Birmingham, where I went to a school that we had less than 10 white students and staff in the whole school, and it was very nurturing. So it was a contrast between those experiences. Then when I got to Berea, I come to Kentucky, and some of the experiences I was dealing with mirrored more of what I dealt with in Florida. So I came in with some just preconceived ideas about what it was going to be like being in this new place with the majority of people that weren't like me, that from what I can see on the surface weren't like me. So it played into how I developed relationships or didn't develop relationships with certain people. But it was interesting that freshman year, my second semester, I got involved with some community service. And that's one of my biggest things I tell students: get involved, get involved, get involved. But I started doing community service, and I was working with people and different people, but we were working around our passion for helping people. So my experiences were different. So it caused me to reflect on the experiences I brought in with me and the experiences I had as far as my preconceived ideas. It was a mix of things. Um, the first year, I didn't take academics serious. Um, I was just free. I was away from home. I was 6 hours away from mom. So I can do what I wanted to do. So a lot of it was experimenting with that freedom, whether it was staying out later than I should, not making all the right choices, as far as academics, and time management was my biggest issue. Still working on it today, but that was my biggest issue. But probably the most standout thing for me as far as my first year of college, I grew up in a single parent home with just my mom. So one thing that Mr. Fears, or Dr. Fears now, I think he went on to get his doctorate, I'm pretty sure, in high school, one of the things he helped me with was working with him. I had developed some understanding that I had issues with authority, especially male authority. And that played out in different ways throughout my life. But it is what it is. Towards the middle of my freshman year of college, walking through Berea College campus, we would sometimes deal with issues as far as citizens that lived in the town people or what have you. And there was one day in particular, was walking on campus, and it was me, a black male friend of mine, and a white male friend. We were just walking on campus, and these two guys that were from the town, or from the city, they started, yelling some things at us, lover and stuff like that, bunch of things. And I come from a background. My first thought is to respond in kind. But for some reason, I don't know what happened that day, because we had different occasions where we dealt with that. But I don't know what happened that day in particular. We didn't respond. We got the campus authorities involved. We told the campus police and our head resident, and we got help from some folks on campus, and they told us, that was the right thing to do, which I agree was the right thing to do. And they asked us to go to court because they were filing charges against these two young men, harassment charges, or whatever it was they were called, and didn't really want to go, didn't really have any belief in the justice system. But what's the worst thing that can happen? So we went to court that day. We went to court down in downtown Berea, if you can call it that. And the judge made a ruling that the two young men could no longer come to Berea campus for, I think, 2 years or something like that, which is big because Berea campus is Berea. I mean, it is Berea. So felt kind of good about that. But then the person from the college, the representative from the college, stood up and he asked the judge, would he be willing to change his orders so that if the students would just make amends, I guess, with the college, apologize to the college in some way, they could appeal to the college to be allowed back on campus if they wanted to be. That was hard for me. That was hard for me as far as why did I come here? There was no reason. It was adversity in dealing with the issue of the young men because I chose not to respond. And again, that's what led to when I did get arrested in high school. It was some issues with a student or what have you. This time I didn't respond, went to court, judge made his ruling, and then the person that we trusted from the college reversed it or asked the judge to reverse it. that was hard for me because here I was trusting the powers that be that I wouldn't normally trust. And I think one of the key things for me in that situation was, one, I had to practice some forgiveness. I had to practice some forgiveness as far as those young men. That's what the man who went to court with us, who ended up becoming a good friend of mine in a sense, as far as folks there on campus. But it also helped me as far as developing a relationship and trusting in this person that was put here to support me. Because numerous times between that point and I graduated, this man that was in court was definitely in my corner and helped me do some things, even when it was me staying to work at Berea College. So, long story, but that's. When I do meet with students and we do our academic progress sessions, sometimes those sessions we can talk about everything except academics. But as you know, they're all related. You know, if one thing's out of place, one thing isn't working over here, it has effects on the academics and everything else. So we have great discussions sometimes in those sessions. So I think one of the places where it helps is I'm able to share with them some of the adversities I dealt with. I'm able to share with them some of the lackings that I had coming in as a student, or maybe not lackings, maybe weaknesses that I had coming in. And I'm able to normalize for them, it's okay that you don't know the answer to this question. It's okay that this is hard for you. It's okay that you don't want to ask for help. We often don't, or even need to know you need to ask for help in these things, whatever it might be. So a big part of it is just being sort of open with my experiences where I came in as a student. I mean, I can't say it enough to get involved. Get involved part of it. And one of the reasons I say get involved is because you never know what interests you might have that you haven't discovered yet. And sometimes getting involved, you find different things that you're interested in, or you better understand your interests because you've gotten involved. The other part of it is get to know someone different. They're just getting to know people. I mean, that made a difference for me as far as the different types of people, not just race, but all sorts of, all sorts of diversity that we have as people. Those are the biggest things for me, just getting involved and getting to know different people, getting outside yourself, I guess. It's okay to be in groups with other African-American students. It's okay if your best friends are African-American students. It's okay if you join the BSU, you know, what have you. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with the comfort that all of us as people find with being with people that are like who we are. At the same time, what I would say to them is don't limit yourself. Don't get sort of stuck in that comfort. You have to experience some things outside of that, whether it's through study groups, whether it's through different involvement on campus, sports, whatever it might be. You're limiting your college experience if you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone. So.